Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we continue the emotional journey in the story of CEO James and LyTuDiep, a love that has endured storms, trials, and losses that once seemed insurmountable. In previous episodes, when Diep suddenly disappeared without a trace, it was as if James had lost a part of his soul. During that time, Trang, who had always harbored unrequited feelings for James, constantly looked for chances to get close to him, even trying to take advantage of his vulnerable moments to insert herself into his life. But James's heart remained steadfastly with Diep, never once wavering. Just when all hope seemed lost, CEO Hung, James's trusted companion, unexpectedly revealed an important clue regarding Diep's whereabouts. And in today's episode, a major turning point unfolds. Officer Lee, while browsing missing person notices posted by James, recognized the face, the same woman he had once encountered during a special case, known then as Hoa. But now, he's certain that she is LyTuDiep. This news is like a glimmer of light in the darkness. James awakens, overwhelmed with emotion. Could it be real this time? Will he find Diep? And if they reunite, can they overcome all the misunderstandings and pain to finally hold hands and walk together to the end? Everything begins right now. Let's follow the latest episode of this story, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss any moment of this tearful yet hopeful journey. As soon as James received a call from CEO Hung saying that someone had seen a girl resembling Diep on the outskirts of town, he immediately jumped in his car and rushed there, his heart brimming with hope. His heart pounded in his chest, caught between anxiety and excitement. All along the way, he could only wish, please, let it be real this time. Let it be her. Let it be Diep, the woman he had been desperately searching for all this time. But, when he arrived, his world crumbled in an instant. The woman Hung had heard about only vaguely resembled Diep in appearance. She wasn't her. It wasn't those eyes. It wasn't that voice. And it certainly wasn't the warmth that once made James unable to forget. A wave of disappointment swallowed him whole. Once again, a fragile hope was swept away by a cruel reality. James stood frozen on a strange street as the wind howled around him, only amplifying the loneliness that had been consuming him day after day. Just then, his phone vibrated. A call from home. The housekeeper's trembling voice came through. "Sir, your mother is seriously ill. She fainted this morning, and hasn't fully regained consciousness yet." Without hesitation, James dashed back to his car and sped off like a madman. This time, not for the company. Not even for Diep. But for his mother, the woman who had quietly stood behind him, supporting him, whom he had so carelessly forgotten. When he got home, he was stunned to see his mother lying on the bed, her face pale, her eyes barely open, devoid of strength. Every breath seemed like a struggle to cling to life. James rushed to her side, held her frail hand, and choked out, "Mom. I'm so sorry." In that moment, memories flooded back, her hand holding his when he was a child, her silent encouragement when he failed, and the sadness in her eyes the day he left to search for Diep, never even asking, "Mom, are you okay?" James immediately called in the best doctor for a home visit. After the examination, the doctor sighed. "She's suffering from severe exhaustion. She needs complete rest, proper nutrition, and most importantly, no more emotional stress." James sat there in silence. He realized how much his mother had quietly endured, worrying about him, hurting over what had happened, and enduring countless sleepless nights waiting for news of her son. All of it had drained her strength. He held her hand and whispered through tears, "Mom. I was wrong. I was so busy chasing after someone that I forgot. You've always been here, always loving me, always waiting. From now on, I'll search for Diep, yes, but I'll take care of you, too. I promise, if I find her, I'll bring her home, so we can all live together, and you won't have to be sad or worry alone anymore. His mother slowly opened her eyes and smiled faintly, a wordless forgiveness. And in that moment, James understood, sometimes, in the midst of all life's chaos, the most precious thing is the one who has been quietly waiting for you to come home. That day, the sky was overcast, and a light breeze rustled through the trees lining a small street on the outskirts of the city, where Officer Lee was quietly investigating a sophisticated cross-border gambling ring. Dressed in plain clothes, he blended into the local neighborhood, hoping to gather fresh leads for the case he had been pursuing for months. He stopped by several roadside drink stalls, casually chatting with locals, sometimes smiling politely, sometimes just sitting silently and listening. As a seasoned officer, Lee understood, the most valuable information often wasn't in files, but hidden within the seemingly trivial murmurs of everyday people. While walking along a deserted intersection, his eyes suddenly caught something on an old, weathered electric pole. A crumpled A4 sheet, its ink slightly faded from the rain. He was about to walk past it, but one image on that paper made him freeze. It was her. The woman named Hoa, the one he had rescued from the roadside during a drug gang bust not long ago. That day, amidst the chaos of gunfire, he had found her unconscious near the forest's edge, face dirted, body bruised as if she'd just escaped some unspeakable tragedy. Without hesitation, he rushed her to the nearest hospital. When the hospital ran out of space, he took her to his home to rest for a few days. She was quiet, with a gaze full of mystery. She called herself Hoa and never shared much, only saying she had gone through something terrible and now just wanted peace. And then, she left silently, leaving nothing behind but a hurried thank you. When Lee returned home from a business trip, the housemaid told him the girl said she felt better and wanted to return to her hometown, not wanting to trouble anyone further. He had thought she was just another drifting soul, carrying wounds that no one could erase. But now, reading the missing person flyer, Lee felt as if lightning struck him. If anyone has seen the girl in the photo, please contact 09XXXX. He pulled out his phone and dialed without hesitation. The moment the call connected and the familiar voice answered, Lee was stunned. "This is James." "James? CEO James?" The man he had worked with on a major economic crime case the previous year? Lee was speechless. "James, the person you're looking for, is it her?" "Yes. Her name is Diep. I've been looking for her for months." Lee gripped his phone tightly. Emotions swelled inside him, surprise, realization, and a strange stirring in his heart. So the quiet girl who once stayed in his house was the very one James had been desperately searching for. A girl shrouded in secrets no one could unravel. Without delay, Lee sent his location and told James to meet him. Within the hour, James arrived. His car screeched to a stop in front of a small roadside cafe. His face was tense, but his eyes were full of hope. He rushed inside, and upon seeing Lee, hurried over. "Lee. Where is she? Have you seen her again?" Lee invited James to sit. For a moment, the two men exchanged a deep gaze. No words were needed. Lee could already feel the desperation and yearning in James's heart. "She stayed at my house. But I didn't know her real name was Diep. She said her name was Hoa. She was quiet, reserved. I rescued her from a violent scene, thought she was just an innocent bystander. She was exhausted, so I let her stay a few days. Then she left while I was away. All my housekeeper said was that she felt better and didn't want to impose anymore." James sat frozen. His lips pressed tight, fingers clenched. Hope was there again, but fragile, like smoke. he asked hoarsely. Do you remember when she left? Was anyone with her? Did she leave any clue? Lee shook his head. No. Very quietly. She didn't say a word. Just left a note of thanks. James lowered his head, sighing deeply. But unlike previous times of despair, this time a new conviction burned within him. She was alive. And as long as she was still somewhere in this world, he would not stop. Thank you, Lee. Thank you so much. This time, I'll find her. No matter what it takes. James left in a rush, not even stopping for a sip of water. Because for him now, every second counted, every moment was a chance to trace even the faintest trail of Diep. When Officer Lee realized that the woman he had once rescued was none other than LyTuDiep, the very person James had been desperately searching for all this time, he couldn't help but feel stunned. But when he looked into James's pleading eyes, a man willing to abandon everything to find the woman he loves, Lee knew he could no longer stand on the sidelines. That very night, Lee contacted his subordinates and deployed a team of local investigators. They spread out across the areas where she was last seen, including nearby villages, local clinics, cheap motels, any place that might serve as a temporary refuge for a woman without identification, family, or a place to call home, trying to stay hidden. We can't let her disappear again, Lee said firmly, his voice low and resolute. She's not a criminal, but she's running like one. That's not fair to her, and even less fair to the one who's been waiting. As for James, after that emotional meeting with Lee, he left immediately, his heart aching with mixed emotions, joy from knowing Diep was alive, pain because he still couldn't reach her, and suffocating worry about where she was now, whether she was safe, and whether she still thought of him. His car moved quietly through the night, heading toward the old house, the short-lived haven where he and Diep once shared peaceful moments. When he arrived, the pale moonlight cast a shadow across the yard. He stepped out of the car and approached the house. It stood still, silent, like his own soul in that moment. James gently placed his hand on the wooden door, still locked. Inside, no light, no sound, no warmth. Everything remained as silent as the night she left without a word. He stood there for a long time, listening, but only the whispering wind in the trees replied, reminding him she hadn't come back. His heart grew heavy. Part of him wanted to sit on the steps and wait until dawn. But then, he looked down the road she had once taken to leave him. And maybe, it would be the same road she might one day take to return. A sudden thought crossed his mind. What if she's looking for me too? What if right now, she's somewhere along the way, between where Lee saw her and this house, then I can't just stay here waiting. James turned back to his car. For the first time in days, a glimmer of clear hope shone in his eyes. He whispered to himself. Tomorrow, I'll start searching every stretch of the road from here to where Lee met her. I won't overlook a single path, a single corner. As long as there's a sliver of hope, I'll find her. As for Diep, amid the mist of the remote mountain forest, the silhouette of a petite woman moved quietly beneath the thick canopy of trees. It was her, LyTuDiep, the woman who had seemingly vanished from James's world, but in truth, had never truly disappeared. She still existed, just lost amidst the uncertainties of life. She had been wandering through the deep forest for days. No map. No phone. No guide. The only things she carried were her survival instincts and a heart aching to return to the one she loved. Diep avoided crowded places. She knew that if someone were still pursuing her, or looking for her for unknown reasons, then the bustling world could easily become a trap. She had seen the cruelty of humanity firsthand, had lived through moments of paralyzing fear. That's why this time, she chose silence, chose hidden paths, deserted trails that only those familiar with life in the wild could navigate confidently. Fortunately, Diep was not weak. In the past, she had joined many volunteer missions to remote areas, learning survival skills and how to identify herbs and forest plants. Those lessons were now her lifeline amidst nature's harsh trials. She knew which fruits were safe to eat, which roots could keep her warm at night, how to collect clean water from leaves, and how to build a simple shelter from branches and foliage. That evening, as the last rays of sunlight faded behind the distant mountains, Diep stopped at a clearing beside a small stream. She built a temporary shelter using young bamboo stalks and lined it with dried banana leaves. Her dinner consisted of a few wild berries, some forest roots, and a bit of water gathered from dew on the leaves. Yet in that moment, every sip, every bite carried the flavor of hope, hope to live, to return, and to see James again. Before falling asleep, she pulled from her pocket a small, faded piece of paper. The ink was smudged, but the familiar slant of the handwriting remained. "I will always look for you. No matter where you are." It was a note James had written during their last farewell, a keepsake she had held onto like a treasure, tattered but sacred. To her, it was a compass pointing home. She whispered softly, "James, I'm almost there. Just a little further. Please wait for me." Despite the exhaustion, despite the bruises covering her body from days of trekking through unforgiving terrain, Diep refused to give in. A strong voice echoed within her. "You must survive. You must endure. You must return." Because she believed, somewhere out there, James was searching for her too. She didn't know what he had been through, whether he still held on to hope or had fallen into despair, but she believed in the love they once shared. That love was not something easily forgotten. Not something that could simply fade away. And in the thick darkness of the forest, a small flame flickered in her makeshift shelter, glowing like a promise. "No matter how many dangers I must cross, I will return to you." And the journey continues. Diep is still making her way over steep slopes and rocky forest paths, holding tightly to the fierce belief that James is waiting for her at the end of the road. And James, after countless disappointments and lost trails, has never stopped believing that she will come back. Will fate give them a chance to reunite? Is their love strong enough to bring two souls, once lost to each other, back together again? Stay tuned for the next episode to find out what happens next. If you've been moved by the difficult yet profound journey of James and Diep, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think they'll find each other again? Or are there still more trials waiting ahead? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of the upcoming emotional and dramatic moments.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Hiện tại thì bây giờ ở chỗ mình thì cũng khá là tối khuya rồi. Thì bây giờ mình mới hoàn thành xong video về Lý Tử Diệp và CEO James để cho mọi người xem. Mọi người thấy này, thức khuya nhiều mà hai cái cuồng mắt nó thâm đen luôn rồi. Thì hôm nay mình mấy bữa nay mình lên video hơi trễ một tí do là cái sự lười biếng của mình nó làm cho cái tiến độ video nó không kịp. Thì cũng thực sự là xin lỗi mọi người vì mình sẽ cố gắng để lần sau cái tiến độ video nó sẽ nhanh hơn để cho mọi người có video để xem. Thường thì mình sẽ lên video ở kênh là một kênh lên video ở kênh là 2 video một ngày, nhưng mà do nhiều khi là có một chút đấy trục trặc về tiến trình nên là mình sẽ nên chậm hơn một tí. Có một khung giờ cố định là 7:30 tối ở giờ Việt Nam mình lên, và một khung giờ nữa là vào buổi sáng thì không cố định. Mong là mọi người sẽ vẫn ủng hộ kênh mình và yêu thương kênh mình nhiều hơn nữa để mình có động lực ra video nhiều và nhanh hơn cho mọi người nha.